Oh, excuse me. Hello. Welcome to the Weekly Brunch. Today is our 10th episode, and I actually want to apologize for those who follow the channel and my daily news. I do apologize. It's been a little inconsistent. I'm trying to become more consistent. So, just so you know, on Mondays and Fridays, I will not be posting the daily news. But after that, expect some more new aspects of it. Today's date is July 20th, 2025. And I'm not going to do any local news anymore on this episode, only because I do the daily news and there's a lot happening quick fasting in the world. But I do have to ask our prayer warriors, our spiritual warriors, to please send some positive energy and prayers to Syria. They are going through some tough times. I will touch on this on the daily news, which I will be doing live around 3 o'clock today. Hopefully, I just have to gather the news. But they are going through some tough times, according to the news sources. And it seems like the Orthodox, the Catholics, and some of the Muslims are going through persecution. I'll get into more details on that. But the topic today that we're going to talk about is more of a female topic, and it's more of a topic that's not being touched upon, which is perimenopause. For those of you who are going into and dealing with perimenopause, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is part of life. It is a difficult part of life that most people do not touch upon. They don't actually, um, they don't, this is a taboo topic. And maybe it's because I'm going through it myself. It's a difficult process. So just so you know, you're not alone in this process. Um, it's part of life, and you could get through this. But how you get through this is important. Now, part of perimenopause, which most people don't tell you, is we need to change our diet. We need to change our exercise regimen. We need to change our life to become more, how can I say, comfortable in life. Now, my theme for my channel, which I'm starting to get more towards, is city homesteading, because part of our issue is our eating habits. We all have to eat. Our exercise regimen. Most of us work in urban environments where we do a lot of walking, believe it or not. We get a lot of natural exercises, and that's not enough. Now, one of the issues within perimenopause is we go through a lot of weight gain. We go through, now I've discovered and I've come to the conclusion. Now, I'm going to say right now, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just someone who is going through perimenopause, and it's difficult. Now, my sister, who is 2 years younger than me, we have broken the mold in our generation. I'm going to say Generation X, it's not what it used to be. Um, is it due to the processed food we go through? Probably. Because my Usually we gauge menopause and perimenopause by our mothers and our grandmothers. And I'm starting to see that this is not this is not the norm anymore. Hate to say it, that's what it is. It's not the norm. Usually we could go by our mother and our grandparents by when they go through perimenopause, because that's when they start talking to us about it. This is when they start telling us, hey, you're going to go through a change and everything else. We know because when we went through, when we started to go through our change in our young adult lives, going through our periods, that's when they told us, hey, you're going through a change, you're going to go through this and that. It's not that way anymore. Whether it has to do with the food, I'm going to have to do a special on that, on how food and why I decided personally to go through the process of trying to grow my own food, even living in a studio apartment. But besides that, it's important the food that you intake. Um, I saw a video, and I have to vet this video and discuss this video on things not to eat. I was told red wine is something to stay away from. Onions, which if we cook is important, that's something to stay away from. Adding probiotics, fermented food into your diet is important. Um, I'll be able to talk about that a little bit more in detail as I go through this. But one of the issues and is weight gain. Now, how do you know if the weight gain is not conducive to your body type? Everybody has different body types. Losing weight the traditional way doesn't work when you're going through perimenopause, which is important. Um, I'm trying a new way of eating. I'm the type of person, my body type used to be I eat once a day, which was normally during lunch because that's the big meal. And I was good. It doesn't work. I've gained so much weight. This is the third, going on the fourth year of perimenopause for me. Um, I am in my 50s. And once I hit 50, weight gain happened so suddenly that I'm dealing with back problems. And these are issues. I'm not sharing this to complain. I'm sharing this so you could start noticing the signs. Now, I was told that my back problems was coming up and I wore a corset, which I no longer do. But I noticed when I started wearing a back brace, pain was alleviated. I could move more. I could do more. I could I could do a lot of the stuff I couldn't do. These are things you have to take notice of when you're going through the process of perimenopause. What's changing? What's changing your habits? Now, when I was 44 years old, I had the best body. I was unrecognizable. Um, Maybe I'll share a photo of what I looked like back then. It was the ideal body for me at that time. Now, life happens. I got off my exercise kick, and what happened was I started to gain weight. I started to have inflammation problems. Um, Now, I have to admit, my family history does have a history of high blood pressure and cholesterol. I have been blessed up until this time of not dealing with these things. And all of a sudden, every time I went to the doctor, it was an issue. They didn't want to let me leave the doctor's office because even for a routine doctor's visit, my blood pressure was high. And I was like, well, it comes in my family. Didn't have any feelings, but these are notes. Now, the scale is my enemy. And if you are like me, you're afraid to step on that scale. I stepped on the scale this year and I weigh more than I've ever weighed in my entire life. Now, I purposely, when I travel to work, I travel on a railway, and then I have to get on the subway system. Those of you who are familiar with NYC, the subway system is how we travel. So I purposely um, take the furthest train to the railway so I could take a walk in the morning to go to the subway. I also have a lot of walking to do within my job, going out and everything else. Now, this is not enough because, like I said, I weighed myself and I weighed myself this weekend and I weighed more than I ever did. This is not a deterrent to me. Yes, I was not happy with the number I saw on the scale, but this tells me I need to get better. Um, Listen to your body. Listen to what your body says. If you are eating something, your favorite food, I love dairy. I love cheese. I love milk. Anything dairy, I am so into it. I have to cut it out. I need to cut it out because, the body is not working the same way. I have to add collagen to my diet. Not something I want to do, but something I have to do to get myself. I am eating more meals. Not is no longer one time a day. I wake up and I have breakfast. Not necessarily right after, but everybody's different. My younger sister started perimenopause. I found out because I started perimenopause at 50. 50 is when I noticed the change. 50 is when I the blood pressures happened. 50 is when the back pain came back due to a lost injury. 50 is when the weight gain started and everything I did didn't work. 50 is when I went to the doctor and I was like, listen, I went to my OBGYN. Your OBGYN at this point of your life is very important. And it's very important that you're honest, no matter how humiliating it is. 50 is when I went to my OBGYN and I was like, listen, uh, I'm having issues with incontinence. I say this because this is one of the signs. I'm having trouble with my blood pressure. We took the proper tests, and my OBGYN, she was like, listen, you're in perimenopause. And that's when I noticed your period is not the sign. There are signs before then that occur. Now, I'm learning as I go the importance of being alert and aware of what's going on within. Now, I know perimenopause, men, you have your wife, you have your significant other if you're older. They're going to go through this and they're not going to know. My first key sign of perimenopause was hot flashes. The sad thing about it is that I didn't know I was having hot flashes. I was sitting in the office. I was in the office a lot at the time. And I could have swore someone was messing with the thermostat. to the point where I was this close to start going off on people. Why are you messing with the thermostat? Why are you making it hotter than it needs to be? And when I had the discussion with my OBGYN was when they were like, no, you're having hot flashes. No one's messing with the thermostat. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what they say. When I spoke to my mom, eventually, she was like, oh, that's perimenopause. You shouldn't be going through that. Talk to my younger sister, who's 2 years younger than me. She was like, oh, yeah, I've been going through this. And now, mind you, my younger sister, who's 2 years younger than me, is a Zumba instructor, certified Zumba instructor. She's this small compared to what she was when we were in our 20s. When we were a teenager, we used to make fun of her because she had a big booty. And in her 20s, she lost it due to her exercise regimen. And she had to work hard. I'm giving her props right now. She had to work hard to keep that slim body that she had. And she was going through perimenopause through 5 years. Now she's in full blown menopause, 2 years younger than me. And she's going through, she's in menopause mode. And we're going through it earlier. What do? First thing you do is go to your OBGYN and you tell them everything you're going through. Right now, I'm going through, and I give full disclosure only because this is what we go through that no one talks about. I gained weight in such a quick and massive way that an old back pain came back. I'm not built for this weight. And because I'm not built for this weight, I am in pain. I am trying to get myself back into a healthier way. What do? You don't count calories. You change the way you eat based on protein, starches, and veggies. This is what our West Indian, and I'm of a West Indian descent. Our West Indian parents did. It was easier for them because they had more natural foods. They grew more natural herbs. They ate warm food, not cold food. You don't want to freeze the process. So they ate more. They ate breakfast. They ate lunch. They ate dinner at a reasonable time, and then they stopped eating. You're going to have to change your eating habits. You're going to have to take out some of your favorite foods. You're going to have to remove alcohol altogether. Sometimes. Everybody's different. And this is what they don't tell you. Our bodies are different. Your period cycle is going to change. That's common knowledge. But what you eat will change and make the process and this unavoidable transition easier. You're going to have more intake of water. If you don't like water, flavor it. There's cucumber water. There's lemon water. Lemon water is the best. You're going to have more protein. Definitely more protein to lose weight. Eggs, more fish, more lean meats is important. Now, here in the US, we have the issues of hormones. So, try to get more uh, free range medicine. You may have to spend a little bit more money on that. If you're on government assistance, well, be mindful those snacks, those preservatives that you like to take, that will help alleviate if you take those out. Make your own. Like today I'm food prepping for the week, and I fried. Granted, they say fried, but I use the oils that you're supposed to use. I try to stay away from seed oils. Your body is changing, and the same way as a teenager you had to learn. Guess what? We're back at the teenage age. We have to relearn what our body will process and deal with, and how it would work better. So, I have a few suggestions to help you. During this time, our bone structure is important. So, you may want to find a collagen substance along with the increase of protein in the morning of adding into your diet. Probiotics, fermented food, creating your own fermented food to have on a daily basis. I love sauerkraut. I love fermented foods. I love fermented tomatoes. I love sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut, fermented carrots, and you can make it, if you can, yourself. You know what you put in it, which is basic: salt, water, kosher salt, preferably. Salt, vinegar, water, and the veggie of choice. Pickles. You can make your own if you grow cucumbers. If you buy cucumbers, you could make your own and make it your own. Food that you would normally eat, add it daily to your diet, your food process. Um, as for exercise, because we do need more exercise at this point. One of the things I notice, I'm at the platform, and the area I live in is a high Asian area. There's a lot of Asians in my area. And one thing I notice is that there are a lot of elderly Asians. Even if they have a cane, one thing they do is they're walking. They are taking a nice stroll. They're not walking fast. It's just a simple stroll. You need to add this into your daily routine. When I was able to walk more, and I used to go out walking on Sunday mornings before everybody goes to church, and I'm talking about like 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Between that time, you will find in my neighborhood anybody walking. I don't eat processed bread anymore. Actually, today I'm going to make flatbread so I can make my breakfast burritos out of oatmeal. YouTube is full of those channels of natural things that can help you lose weight. Eating at least 3 meals a day, warm meals, cooked meals. You cook your meal, you know what goes into your food. There's no processed things. The closest processed things that you have, if you're in the city, yes, unfortunately, I'm a raw person, so I prefer raw milk. Mm, it's not found. So I gear towards goat milk. Yes, goat milk is expensive, but if you look, and it has to be pasteurized due to law here in New York City. If you're in a area where you can get raw milk, now if you're going to go the unpasteurized route, you have to do that in increments. One of the things I'm going to do today as an experiment for the natural, you want to go as natural as possible when it comes to eating food. And I always recommend ending your day with a nice cup of tea, tea of your choice. Stop eating. You're going to have to cut out the nightly munchies and everything else. Perimenopause is not something to be dreaded. It's a wonderful journey. And if we learn to live life a more natural, protein enriched life, it can help. This is part of Vista Within, my book. I don't have it handy for you guys to show, but this is how you can live your life. Those of you who are in your 40s, and and what motivated me to have this particular episode today is that I have deliveries because I don't own a car in the city. So it's a little bit more difficult to go shopping. And I had a wonderful conversation with one of my favorite delivery personnel from Instagram, and we were talking, and she's in her 40s. She's a woman, and I was discussing with her the process of going through perimenopause and what to expect, what not to expect, and signs that we have to do. Also, I am part of a ERG that I'm sorry, a group within my job where we are dealing with more health and welfare items. And I remember during a meeting, as we're moving along, we were discussing how it's important to be honest with your care provider. Case in point, I say I'm going through back problems. I know it's due to the fact that I've gained so much weight so quickly, and I'm not built to carry this weight, hence the pain. Now, I did mention earlier that I had an ideal weight when I was more active, when I was doing Muay Thai. When I was doing Muay Thai, I was eating 5 times a day, probably 6 times a day. And my diet was constant. And I was the best. It was the best body. I mean, even as a teenager, it was the best body I ever had. I mean, an image of me now and an image of me then at 44, and it was 44, is completely different. So I went to my chiropractor, who I'm going through my back issues with, and I was like, listen, I want to get back to Muay Thai, which is my exercise of preference. And I was like, can I get there with the back pain? Because I can't even, walking is a struggle. And my chiropractor goes, you could get there. Matter of fact, you're ahead of schedule. Why am I ahead of schedule? One, I use support that I need. I use a knee brace. This issue was brought up because I went to a play, and at the end of the play, they said, just everybody get up and dance. And I got up and danced, and I made a move. Simple move. And I knew I was in trouble. So much so that it took Times Square 3 blocks away, literally. I had to struggle to get to a drugstore to buy a cane because I could not walk. I was in so much pain. And that was me ignoring signs. Don't ignore the signs. So currently, I wear a back brace, I have a cane, and I wear a knee brace. You don't have to get to that point. You have to listen to your body and follow your instructions. Perimenopause is your body getting ready for old age. Getting ready for old age, and this is not a bad thing. Getting ready for old age means adjusting. How do you adjust? Lower your carbs. Pay attention to the foods that sit with you and don't sit with you. Talk to your doctors and let them know this isn't working and that isn't working. Speaking of a woman's point of view, basically, this is our midlife crisis, perimenopause and menopause. It's happening earlier and earlier for us women. I was fortunate enough, it happens in my 50s. My sister, it happens in her late 40s, which is to me unheard of. Usually we're looking at the 60s, 70s. That time is gone. So we have to pay attention to our body. I've known women who's gone through perimenopause as early as in their late 30s. So we need to pay attention to our bodies and we need to pay attention to the food we intake and how to adjust our food intake as such. On that note, I'm going to let you think about this. First of all, there's no shame. You're wise in your way, and the wisdom shows in the actions that you take. Ignoring perimenopause doesn't work. Witness over here. So try to add more protein into your diet. Try to add more exercise. Yes, going back and forth to work, walking, it's not enough. Take some time for you. Go for a walk. Take a bike ride. I'm to the point where my doctor says I can go for a bike ride. When you wake up in the morning, first thing before that cup of coffee, do some stretching exercises. YouTube is filled with exercises that help you with the flexibility of the aches and pains you go through. And this is another part of our journey. When we were growing up as teenagers, we had growing pains. This is growing pains. Perimenopause is not a death sentence. Perimenopause is another stage in our process. Now, I'm hoping, as you know, I have a discussion with the Luke, and I'm hoping to have a discussion with Luke on the male aspect of getting older because you males go through another process. People call it a midlife crisis, but there are other physical aspects. As I'm speaking of the other physical aspects, both men and women, we need to do our diligence in having our yearly or every 5 years medical examination. For us women, it's our mammogram. For men, it's the pelvic exam. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I know it's painful and it's unheard of, but at this point of our life, it's important to understand that these things are important. They're unspoken of. Women, we have to go, women and men, we have to go through our colonoscopy. And as much as it sounds invasive, they put you out. You don't actually experience the quote unquote pain. This is a time to be health conscious. This is a time to be aware. If you don't let your doctor know, and if you're not on top of this, who will be on top of this? Take responsibility for what we have to do. This is the Loon. I'm going to sign out now. Think about what I said. Think about what you've heard. Think about the steps that you need to take to be a healthier, happier you. If you like this broadcast, go ahead and hit the like button. If you think someone could benefit by what was said here today, go ahead and share. Subscribe for new things. I will not be having the daily news on Monday or on Friday. If you follow the daily news, I will be having the news with the Loon later on today, hopefully by 3 o'clock. We'll see how soon I could gather news, because this is a very rapidly moving news cycle, specifically focused on the NYC area, metro area. Today we will be having Manhattan and Bronx. Also, on the 22nd, which I believe is Tuesday, we won't be having a daily news, but we will be having the buddy check. So if you know anybody who's ex-military, please share with them. And I'm going to say until next time.